and welcome to the Pod Like a Pro podcast. I'm Liz Clarkson from Pod and Pen Productions. On this podcast, every second week, we give you tips and insights to help you podcast like the professionals. And every other week, we talk to a podcaster at a different stage of their journey to see how they've done it. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce a PR expert, Erin Huckle from Chuckle Communications. She's recently launched her podcast, PR with Purpose. Erin, welcome and congratulations on the launch.
Oh, thanks so much, Liz. It's great to be here.
What does it feel like to have your podcast out in the world now?
Oh, gosh, it's like birthing a baby, isn't it? It's so exciting to see it out there, but really nerve-wracking as well. I didn't quite anticipate how vulnerable it would feel to be having it go live. I guess I've been so focused on the mechanics of getting it all ready and getting to the point that I can press publish. But yeah, it's exciting to see it out there and surreal to be getting feedback that people have taken me on walks and drives and had me in their ears while they're cooking dinner. So yeah, it's very surreal, but a lot of fun.
What I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about is, given that you are a PR professional, I'd love to know how much weight do you give to podcasting as a PR tool? And is that, obviously you've started a podcast and you're a PR professional, so I'm presuming you think it's moderately okay, but I'd love to see what your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really value podcasts as a channel for PR. In the lead up to actually launching my own podcast, I've worked in getting my clients on as guests on numerous podcasts, and I myself have also been a guest on podcasts. And I think you just can't underestimate the value of the intimacy of the medium. You know, I think it's fantastic. Obviously, everyone wants to be on national TV or in a big newspaper or in a magazine, but the intimacy of being in someone's ears and connecting with them, I just find it so highly valuable. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and authors and thought leaders. And for me, the value of them getting onto a podcast that really connects with their niche, with their audience, it's worth more in many ways than getting into that mainstream media where you might be reaching thousands of people, but if only a small percentage of them are relevant to your message, you know, it's not necessarily of a greater value. Whereas if you get onto a podcast that wants to talk about your exact thing and the audience is exactly who you want to reach, it's huge. It's gold.
So tell me, with all of that thinking, was that the reason why you decided? I know you've been thinking about a podcast for a while. What was it that made you decide, yes, I'm going to do it. Because it is quite a commitment to start a podcast. What was that thing that you decided, yeah, this is it for me, I'm going to actually do this?
Well, I'm an avid podcast listener. Over the last few years, I have just become obsessed with podcasts, and I have a huge number of podcasts always ready to go on my Spotify downloaded for me to listen to. And I've really enjoyed being a guest on podcasts as well, which has been, I guess an eye-opener in terms of, you know, having those conversations, and I've really enjoyed it and it's built my confidence. But my initial idea was, I thought, wouldn't it be great to share some of the conversations I get to have in my work with a bigger audience, because I do pinch myself. I get to work with amazing people who are experts in their field and have amazing insights and expertise to share. I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could give them another platform on which to do that? Because I feel like so often I'll get off a call with a client and think, I wish other people were listening to that. That was gold. They shared so much wisdom. It was amazing. So the initial idea was, wouldn't it be great to sort of create a platform for my clients in the, you know, as a podcast, so that we could have these conversations. And then it evolved from there through doing the course with you into something that's not just a platform for them, but also really shines a light on what PR does for you if you're in that space or you wanted to get into the space of being a, you know, someone who's known for their expertise, being a thought leader, and sharing my own knowledge and tips. So yeah, it's been an evolution, I guess. But for me, it was like, you know, let's start to walk the walk a little bit as well, in terms of, you know, I'm constantly speaking to podcast hosts about getting my clients onto their podcasts. Why not have a go at putting one together myself as well?
And I think you do that really nicely, you know, alternating between episodes where you are giving tips around PR, and then giving listeners that insight into those relationships you have, and how PR works for those really successful women that you're talking to, which actually is a lovely segue into my next question, because in that first episode of PR with Purpose, where you talk to another person, so it's actually a second episode, you talk to Danielle Dobson, who's the author of the book Breaking the Gender Code, amongst other things. And she says this great thing about PR. You have this conversation about what PR does. I actually have the audio here. So can I play your own podcast back to you for a moment?
Please do.
Okay, here we go.
There can be a little bit of confusion around the role of PR versus the role of sales versus the role of just more general marketing. And, PR is really a great communication tool, not necessarily a sales tool. I think it's more about awareness raising, authority building. So those things need to really work hand in hand. Would you agree? Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. And I wish I had learnt this earlier. I'm sure people like yourself were sharing that with me, but the penny didn't really drop until probably a couple of years ago. And I think this is such a crucial awareness to have, a crucial connection. Because if you're thinking, okay, I'm getting great PR, I'm getting people coming back to me saying, oh yeah, you're in the media, seeing me as an expert, then the automatic next step, if you don't know about what marketing, the importance of marketing and sales, is you can go into that thinking pattern of, well, why aren't people knocking on my door? Why aren't I getting the sales? Why aren't I getting a lot of inquiries? And that's probably my accounting head there, just creating this simple equation, PR equals sales. But making that connection, reduce the pressure, and help me to be able to really focus on PR, sales, and marketing as separate activities that are all interrelated, but need to be done together with the right people, with the right skills, like yourself.
So that is just a little bit of your episode of PR with Purpose with Danielle Dobson. I love that, because it is talking about what PR is and how it works separately to marketing and separate to sales. I know it's early days for your podcast, but I just wonder how you've seen that evolve for yourself so far.
Yeah, it's been an interesting experience so far, because I have to admit, before I started on this journey, that I did think in my mind, okay, well, if I'm going to invest X, it would be nice to get an ROI of Y. But the podcast, being a podcast host, it's similar to that PR I'm talking about in the episode with Danielle. I think at this stage, it's been fantastic in terms of profile raising and awareness raising. It's gotten me back in front of people who are thinking about me, talking about me, connecting with me. I've had so many well wishers as a result. It's just sort of given me another reason to put myself out there in front of my audience. And a bit like PR, I think the podcast will become an asset for me that helps to just cement me as someone who is an expert in my field, and someone who is putting themselves out there and not afraid to sort of put myself in the shoes of my clients. Because I think when you are a PR professional, you are so often behind the scenes. And when I started working for myself for the first, I'd say 1 or 2 years, I was definitely guilty of not ever PRing myself. It was all about my clients. And then a couple of years in, I realized, you know what, I need to start treating myself as a client and starting putting myself out there, doing some of my own PR, whether that's writing op-eds or appearing as a podcast guest. And it's that kind of slow burn marketing that gets you into that top of funnel, top of mind. People come into your world who might not have come across you before. And then it's up to your sales and marketing to really nurture them, keep them interested. And then down the track, you never know when they might actually choose to work with you, which is often how I now get my clients. They come and say to me, I've been following you for the last couple of years, ever since I heard you on X podcast or became aware of your work through this publication. So it's a long game, but I think it's part of the fun.
Before we pressed record, you were talking about that you were having quite a bit of fun with the podcast, which is great. I love to hear that because that means people will keep going if they're enjoying it. But I wonder, what are you looking forward to, now that you sort of started and got a feel for it, what are you looking forward to as you continue your podcast journey? Do we call it a journey?
I feel like I've said journey a few times, which I don't know who I think I am. What kind of journey am I on?
You are on an important journey.
A journey from my own desk to my own desk. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I think the thing that, it's funny because I've only had a few episodes go live at the stage that we're recording this, but I've got a whole list of episodes ready to go. And part of me just can't wait to get them out there. You know, I feel really excited because I'm proud of the conversations and I think they're full of lots of valuable insights for people who want to know, you know, what's going on behind the scenes, because PR can be seen as a bit of a dark art and there's a cloak of secrecy. I really am excited to bring those conversations out and, you know, give people some ideas on how they can get started. So I'm excited for that, but I'm also excited about the interviews I haven't done yet. I've got people in the calendar booked in, which is exciting. You know, some of them are clients, some are contacts, some, you know, one of them even contacted me and asked if they could be on the podcast before the podcast had even gone live, which felt like quite a win. Yeah, so it's exciting to have that to look forward to. And just to know that I'm carving out this time for something that's a creative pursuit for myself, not just putting all of my creativity into my work for my clients. So it's a good feeling.
Erin, thank you so much for joining me on Pod Like a Pro podcast, and congratulations again.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your help and the course. So thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So you can find Erin's podcast, PR with Purpose, wherever you listen. We will also share a link in the show notes. Erin was one of our course graduates, and if you'd like to make a podcast just like Erin, then head to podandpen.com.au to find out more. Until next time, happy listening.